Wow. Just wow. Welcome to another episode of geekoutdoors.com. As you probably saw from the previous picture and this picture right here, these are the brand new renders and it looks like the possible final designs of the brand new Moto X phones in 2016. Now, this particular shot right here, this is a Hello Moto HK, and I think that stands for Hong Kong. They posted these renders on Mother's Day, which is you know, about a week ago almost, on their Google Plus page. And then after that, a lot of people, including VentureBeat specifically, picked up the story. And what we have here are actually two different models that Motorola is expected to release. One is the Vector Thin, and then the other is the Vertex. And well, what can I say? I mean, I'm really not feeling the design. In one case, I do like it. I like the fact that it looks thin and it does look more premium. But in another case, boy, that bottom hump, or I guess that bottom portion with the actual fingerprint scanner looks bad. And the connector in the back looks really odd as well, but it does serve a purpose, which I'll talk about. And it does have a slight camera hump, as you could probably see right there, which is, never really a good thing. I'm not a big fan of camera humps. Now, the Vertex is the lower end model of the two, and it will have a Snapdragon 625 processor, which is a slower processor. They're saying it probably might have 2 gigs of RAM and 16 gigs or 32 gigs of storage and 3 gigs of RAM. And of course, more than likely, it'll definitely have a micro SD card for, memory expansion. And then the higher end one is actually the Vector Thin one. And, it will have the same size screen. However, instead of a full HD screen, which is a 1080p, it actually have up to a quad HD resolution, which is great. Okay, and this one is actually going to have a Snapdragon 820 top of the line, and it will come with 32 gigs, but it also has a micro SD card slot, and they're saying you might have a choice of 3 or 4 gigs of RAM, which is also nice. And the camera itself will be a 13 megapixel with OIS, optical image stabilization, and laser autofocus. And judging by what Motorola has done with the past, they've primarily gone with AMOLED panels for their most recent phones. So that's you could expect great battery life and also deep blacks and just good color overall. And as I just said earlier, it more than likely they might have the shatter shield protection, which is pretty awesome. And the back, I want to talk about that connector really quick. So if you see right there, there's these pin connectors in the very back of the phone, and they're supposed to be used for something called amps. And this is very, very similar to the concept that the LG G5 has with their friends, where it's going to be kind of like modular. And so you'll be able to take this back plate off and put different modules on there. And they're saying you're going to have, like, at this point, 6 different modules or amps that you could put on. And these are the ones that they're expecting. And that it'll still have a lot of the customization, motor customization that we all know Motorola to have in their phones. And in terms of the actual look, okay, I mean, these are renders, but just a recent article by GSM Arena, I think this one just came out today, as a matter of fact, and it actually looks like they got a real final production. And so, unfortunately, or fortunately, I guess if you like this type of stuff, it's the front's gonna have that fingerprint scanner all the way at the bottom, and it's gonna make the phone a lot longer, which is not gonna be nice. And I just don't like the way that front looks. So unfortunately, it looks like whatever renders that we have here, it looks like this is gonna be more than likely the final design. We won't know until June, but you win some, you lose some. I mean, the back, it is unique. If you look at that camera right there with that big circular edge, and then, the really very nice Motorola logo, but then you have the 16 pin connectors there. So, we'll see. And if it does have this camera hump, uh, not going to be a big fan of that. And in terms of the Moto X itself, originally, I actually wanted to get the Moto X Pure, which is, in my opinion, probably the best mid-range phone, best quality, value for the money. And originally it was like $400. I was gonna get this until the LG G5 came out, and the other phones like the S7 and iPhone 6s were released, and I almost picked this one up, but unfortunately, it didn't have the things that I really, really wanted. I mean, I really care a lot about my video and phone camera quality, and so this didn't have it. And also, even though I do like the customization and so forth, there's something about the design and the size of it that I wasn't really enjoying. Even though it does have some nice front-firing speakers, unlike my LG G5. So what do you think about this design? I There's been a lot of mixed feelings about this, and leave them below. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I'm just not feeling it. And as a matter of fact, in the next part of this video, I'm going to talk about what I feel about Motorola, and one of my my favorite phones. I think Motorola, they have a lot of great designers and technologies, just a lot of knowledge. They were the first to have cell phones. They were the creator of the cell phones, as a matter of fact. And so I hope that whenever this is released, I do hope that they'll make some improvements. I'm not sure how, if this is going to be the final design, or just set a little more light on what their phones and these two phones are actually going to be offering. And hopefully, they'll do more to entice consumers and have more success. Because I really would hate for Motorola to, even though they are owned by a much bigger company like Lenovo, I hope that they stay in the smartphone arena, and I hope that they get better quality phones in terms of like a more premium design, and as best quality as they could get. Because I definitely want Motorola to succeed in this case. So yeah. Okay, so this is the new Moto X 2016. Just kidding. As you can probably see, this is a Moto G. It's actually one of my top picks. A while back I did a video and I said this was like the top tech at the time, because of the simple fact that whenever Motorola released their Moto G series, it was simply the best phone that you could get below $200. And it was actually amazing, all the quality that you get. The screen quality was awesome. The speed was great. It ran nearly a stock Android. This is actually a Nova launch in here, but I was extremely impressed with what Motorola was able to do with the Moto G. And for a long time, for a long while, my next phone, I was actually going to get the Moto X Pure, but this is before the Samsung Galaxy S7s, the iPhone 6s, and also the LG G5, which I ended up getting, were announced and then eventually released. But I've always had a spot for Motorola, especially when they were one of the few Android providers that actually still provided, such amenities such as micro SD card slots, and also the actual customization that they had. And the most important thing was they were providing a really quality phone in so many different areas, in a price that most people can afford, which was excellent. And so but unfortunately, whenever the LG G5 came out, I really wanted top of the line specs, and I also, most importantly, wanted a top of the line camera and video quality. And unfortunately, the Moto X Pure, the current version, doesn't provide that. But that kind of gives you an idea of what I think about Motorola. I really think they're a great company. They've been around for a long time, but now they're owned by Lenovo. So I have a lot of high hopes for the new Moto X Pure in 2016. I just hope that the quality still is there, and that hopefully the actual shots of the new renders are, hopefully they'll be improved. I'm not feeling everything on design, although I do like the direction that they're going in terms of the more premium designs for I guess what to say, an affordable mid-range phone. Thanks for checking out this episode.
And as always, if you like these videos, be sure to click on the subscribe button. And for full written content, audio content, and additional geek stuff, head over to geekoutdoors.com, and I'll see you outdoors on the very next episode.